if I'm a filmmaker who's just finished my film, and I'm now again contemplating self-distribution, traditional distribution, spending a whole year doing a festival circuit and possibly, pouring some money into that. What would you say is, some of the key and most common pitfalls that filmmakers kind of fall into at that stage when they're just now trying to figure out what to do? They've just got that final cut, and what next? What are some of the most common mistakes that they make that we might not have covered yet?
Overspending on film festival submissions. I find that filmmakers will spend thousands of dollars just submitting to film festivals, and when I come back to intelligent spend, right? It's just not advantageous. Uh, a majority of independent films are going to get into film festivals that mean nothing to your film. I love the little accolades. I love that maybe you win a best, picture award at the Tallahassee, horror film festival. And I'm not crapping on them because we support and we sponsor a lot of the independent horror film festivals, but you need to do that intelligently, right? Maybe pick 5 that you're excited about, right? That you'd like to potentially get into and submit to them and call it a day. Because at the end of the day, you're just going to spend a ton of submission fees, not get in. And even if you did get in, again, all you're doing is prolonging the release of your film. You're getting into festivals that mean little to nothing ultimately to the success of your film, from a monetary standpoint. Um, so, again, be strategic about that. And I find, again, it's a big pitfall. And then look, and I love everybody wants to shoot for Sundance and Toronto and the Tellurides and that's okay. Do it. But again, submit to 5. Pick your top 5,
Yeah.
submit. Wherever you get in, you get in. Wherever you don't, you don't. Because the other thing I talk about is too is like some people that, and I've known filmmakers that go on these like 6-month, 8-month, year-long festival runs, and I'm like, hey guys, your film is not getting better. It's not like a fine wine. It's not aging well. Like you don't want to keep doing this. There's going to be a point where like it just doesn't literally make any sense for you anymore. Um, I also think some of the pitfalls I see for filmmakers, and again, I'm a big advocate of it, but I'll see filmmakers really push to pay for four walling their film, right? Now, look, you want to do a little, four wall in your hometown and do something, for a one night thing, great. But don't spend a ton of money trying to four wall your film. That is not going to get you anywhere. That is not going to mean anything. Look, I've even had filmmakers that who've gone through AMC independent, selecting the process and all that stuff. Even that, let's say you got into, 10, 12, theaters. Well, guess what? You're still paying for DCPs. You're still paying for posters. You're still paying for some sort of marketing, and you're competing in a space that is impossible because your little independent film is next to the next whatever massive tentpole film is there. So again, it's about intelligent spend, getting ego out of the way, and really thinking about, okay, what is the best way to get my film out there? Let me start looking at distributors. Let me start looking at self-releasing. Let me get all of the information. And I find one of the biggest pitfalls, I find it to be quite frustrating, to be honest. We're living in a time where filmmakers have zero excuse to not do their due diligence about anything or anyone, a person, a company, an aggregator. Okay. You can find people, if there's a distributor that's made you an offer and you're not sure, ask them for some references, but then go onto IMDb, track down other filmmakers under their banners, reach out to them directly and say, hey, how's your experience been? Go into one of the many film forums that are out there where people can tell you about their experience with a distributor, with an aggregator. Do your homework. Don't just sign a deal with a distributor or an aggregator, not know what you signed, and then have the audacity to bitch about it when it doesn't go the way you think, or you discover something because you really only greased over the contract instead of actually reading it or doing any amount of due diligence. you have no excuse today. You really have no excuse. So when I find that filmmakers keep making the same mistakes, or I'll see a filmmaker go with a company that on a filmmaker forum, like 100 people have said, don't go here, they're not good, or we got screwed, or whatever it is, and you still go there and you get screwed, well, you don't get to complain. You
Yeah.
That's on you. And so, and this is the thing, this is where so many independent filmmakers, and again, it goes back to a little bit about, do I do a distributor or do an aggregator? You're responsible for so much of this decision making process before it ends up in someone else's hands. You have to do your job and do your due diligence. And again, today in this digital age, you can research anybody like that. So don't give me that crap. Don't give me that crap. Do your homework. Listen, I have it. I'm gonna just say this. I have had filmmakers who would email about something that they were upset about, and I'm like, did you read your contract? And I'll like frame grab it and send them a section, and I'll be like, did you read this? And they're like, oh, I must have missed that. Okay, well, listen again, and our contracts, I mean, and we've gone out of our way to make them so clear and so easy to read and so much dumbed down, if you will, that again, it's like, guys, come on, do your part, do your part of this. This is the process, and it sucks. It's the business side of it. I know that a lot of people are not good at the business side of it. That's okay. I'm not saying that you have to be. What you have to be good at is asking questions. You have to be good at doing your homework and asking other people, hey, what was your experience? What happened here? Do you
Yeah.
feel good about them? Would you work with them again? And that's what I always come back to, right? And I think for us, one of the things that I'm very proud of as a company is that, you know, we have filmmakers who continued to renew their terms with us long after they could have walked away. I've got filmmakers in their second, third, fourth, fifth film with us. And I think things like that are a real testament to us being a company of our word. Look, one of the things that I always say to people, I can't promise anybody success. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how it's going to work. I don't know why this film over here did well. I said this earlier. I don't know why this film did well and this one kind of fell on its face. But here's what we do is we promote and we market and we push and we never give up on the films. And I got to tell you, that level of honesty and transparency about that process has gone a long way, with our filmmakers, and why filmmakers keep coming back to us, because they know what they're walking into. I'm not giving them a bunch of magical sunshine bullshit that I'm blowing up their ass about how great their film is going to do and how much money it's going to make. And look, and there are filmmakers who want to hear that, right? They want to hear that. There's a lot of filmmakers who go with distributors, shoddy distributors, because that distributor will sell them on how great their film is and how much money they're going to make them. Well, at the end of the day, what I always say is, well, look, if you sign that contract and there wasn't some sort of a threshold out where that distributor said, well, if I don't make you $100,000 in the first year, I'm going to reverse your rights to you. Well, if they didn't do that, well, you're screwed. They don't have to do anything for you. They sold you on a bill of
Yeah.
goods that you wanted to hear, and that was the end of it. So anyway, it's just that kind of stuff where I just want to see filmmakers taking more ownership and more responsibility for the decision making process.
Yeah, and another, and that's all really, really great advice. Just to, add a point to that, we talked a little bit about the film festival circuit, a sort of business-minded reality check. A lot of filmmakers will, be say, okay, let's just submit to Sundance just to see what happens. Maybe our film will make it there. And it's, if you really look at the numbers, you know that your film just won't get in. And I know some films get in, but that said, there was a year, I think it was 2022, where Sundance did not accept a single film from the open submissions, meaning every single film that go into the festival was from their incubators, from their film funds, from referrals, which means if that year you went on Film Freeway and you submitted your film that festival, it had zero chance of getting in, right? And those
Yeah.
chances are not much higher every single other year.
Yeah, no,
So it's
all
just
you're
yeah.
doing is paying to support the festival happening. That's all you're
Yeah,
doing.
it's a charity donation. Yeah, to
Exactly,
Sundance.
exactly, pretty much, yeah. And
Yeah,
again, look, and I would never, and it's and going back to what I said earlier, I would never say to somebody, don't submit to Sundance, don't submit to Toronto, don't submit to Telluride. Sure, great, but go into it with your eyes wide open. And again, only submit to a handful. Don't spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on submissions that at the end of the day are just not going to equate to anything for your film.